Okay. Whoa, my hair's looking crazed. That tends to happen. Maybe that's better. I guess that's a little bit better. Sorry, I look like a mess. Well, I guess I'll just wait for people to come in and hang out. My lunch, this is what lunch looks like these days. I'm kidding. I had some watermelon right before this. Lunch. This is my lunch. We're going to just prop that up right there. Hi, Melissa. I don't know why I have to shout when I see people come in. Maybe if I bring this back a little, you could see it better. Hi, I feel crazy. This is my lunch. A Lind chocolate bar. Oh, dear. But it's hazelnut. So anyhow. A breakfast burrito? That sounds like something I could be down with. I'm gonna pull this back even a little more. Right here. I could go for a breakfast burrito. Where'd you get the breakfast burrito from, Melissa? What, Gabe? I'm just eating my half. There's Hershey's chocolate bars for you. I'm just working on my half of the chocolate bar. It's fine. Melissa, you made it? Dang, girl. Get that breakfast burrito. Yeah, but Gabe, I'm just eating my half. This half is for you. See? It's packaged nicely. It's almost like it was never open. Come and get it. Trisha, no, none of it's dark chocolate because I am not a fan of dark chocolate even a little bit. The only dark chocolate that I like is this one from Trader Joe's, which doesn't exist anymore because I can't find it. It was orange gummies. They were like soft, like gel gummy dipped in dark chocolate. Like the only time I like it. I like dark chocolate with orange. I don't know why. It's the only time I like it. What's Cherry Hill chicken? What's that mean, Barb? Hey, Charlie. Oh, so now is when everybody shows up to watch me eat chocolate for lunch. Yo, what is going on here? No, I feel a little bit like silly. But anyhow, yes, I did just eat chocolate for lunch. I did have some watermelon before this. I like that. Hey, Hannah. Hey, Tony. Listen, so y'all just show up to watch me eat chocolate for lunch. Okay. Well, that's what just happened, and I'm already I'm already done with that. Gabe said there better be a chocolate bar for him. There are Hershey's bars, but there are no more Lind bars. So I said I just ate my half. So, yeah. And it's a hazelnut one. It was so good. Gabriel, you can come and get your chocolate before I eat it. Jennifer, you're having Uncrustables? Those are yummy. Barb, I will. So what's in Cherry Hill chicken? So that sounds good. Right? Tony, like, okay. Tony, come get the chocolate. I have Hershey's bars too. Like, I went down the candy aisle and I was like, ooh, everything's on sale. Oh, look who's coming to get his chocolate bar. So Gabe came and took the chocolate because he knows I would eat it. Oh, that's nice. Trisha, you've gotten so much painting done. Hi, Gabe from Trisha. You're already gone. Everything's in such a delay, so it's hard to... You ate dark chocolate chips while making your breakfast burrito. That's great. Oh, Barb, yeah, send me the recipe. I'd love to check it out. You guys, how is everybody? You know what, like, I don't know. I talked to Tony, who's in here, for almost an hour on the phone. Were we on the phone for an hour? We were on it for a while. Almost an hour. Because you know what? Just some of us, I think, are just less okay than others. And Tony and I got to commiserate for a little bit. So that was kind of nice. And Charlie, I know I still owe you a phone call. It's like, it's a lot. I can't explain it. It's like initially when all of this started, all I wanted to do was talk on the phone. Now I've gotten into this weirdo mode where it's almost like it's like really hard for me to talk on the phone. Like I can't explain it. I don't really have an explanation. Tony, you're amazing. Tony, I loved how Gabe came in the room. He was like, because it was one of the times where you were like going like very fast, and Gabe's like, who are you talking to? I go, Tony. Goes, I already knew that. I just had to confirm. He's like, only Tony can talk that fast. Oh, Melissa, emotionally exhausted. Yep, I feel that. Oh, Jennifer, you hiked 8 miles on Sunday? That's awesome. Good for you. You know, walking, hiking is so nice because you get to be outside and exercise and do that stuff. I actually am joining a team of 24 people. I think currently we have 13. A team of people, and we're going to be doing a 5,000 mile race. And it takes place over 3 months. And so basically there's like this track across America. So it's like the Great American 5,000 mile trek across America. I don't know, something like that. So every time someone on the team logs their miles that they run, it adds to your team's like onto this pretend trail or whatever online. So anyhow, Right? Yeah, 8 miles is like, that's a hike. And 8 miles, like, so Jen, after when I did my 5 mile run a couple weeks ago, my feet hurt so bad. So were your feet hurting after the 8 miles? Also, I need new sneakers. So, yeah. Where was I going with this? But yeah, like my feet hurt kind of thinking about it even. And I was telling the girl who asked me to join their team, because she was like, "Oh, I hear you run." I'm like, "Yeah, barely." Especially now, I'm like, so that's been my workout life. So I was saying, I kind of run, like I half run. But anyhow, I do need new sneakers. I have, oh, that's great. That's really good. You probably have really good sneakers too that would support that. I have New Balance sneakers, but I've already had them for over a year and a half, and they've seen better days. So basically, I need some newer sneakers so that I can run this thing. And I told the girl that's running this team, I said, listen, like, I don't know that I'm going to be able to put in the amount of miles like some other people, but there's some people on the team that are just like, they're runners through and through, so they're going to run lots of miles. But I was like, 5,000 miles for 24 people is 208 miles in 3 months. Oh yeah, and Tammy did the math, and it came to 2 miles a day. If everyone were to split it evenly, everyone would run 2 miles a day. Listen, and I said I'm probably not running 2 miles a day, but when I do run, I run like 3 to 5, and I'll probably do that like every other day once I get really like committed and into it. So what's up, Imani? Hi. Hey, Sandy. Look at all you people coming in here to watch me eat chocolate for lunch. Imani, you miss me eating chocolate for lunch. Tony, yeah, 5,000 miles. Yeah, so I don't know. I kind of feel crazy, like, doing it, but that's what I'm saying, Melissa. I think it will push me to to be more committed because it's for a team effort. And isn't it sad that I'll push myself for other people, but I won't push myself for myself? It's pretty sad. I think about that a lot, actually. Imani, you're kind of lunch? Yeah, me too. So yeah, like trying to do that. That starts in 2 weeks. So I really need to get on, like, starting to get my running going. It honestly, like, chocolate, especially Lind hazelnut chocolate. So good. So how is everybody doing? Like I was saying, I talked to Tony. We talked for like an hour. We talked a lot about different things people were sharing on Facebook and how kind of like horrific some of the things that we've seen have been. Like, well, Tony, I don't want to say for your stuff, but like I've seen stuff personally that has been like traumatizing, like you witness certain things and you're just like, wow, it's hurtful. So being on social media is just lately been very exhausting. And so, sorry, I switched gears really fast and now I see you guys are commenting about the workout stuff, but I switched gears because I think it's hard to talk about everything that's happening right now. And it's hard to vocalize it. Like, I don't know if any of you guys were here. You guys probably weren't here on Sunday, but I preached a sermon about it. And even getting up all of the words to preach on Sunday was exhausting, because I had messaged like specifically one of the families at church, because I was just telling her, I said, I really just want to do justice by this, but also like I just realize who it's coming from, and like I just realized I'm not the authority on this, but like I can just kind of give it my best go. And so I did, but it was exhausting to come up with the words to like to let people know like where I stand. And I think it's pretty clear where I stand. Like I don't think that anyone would like question where I'm at or who I am or how I act, because I think that's pretty clear. But I wanted to use words and not just my character and my personality. Like I wanted to say it. And I wanted to say like that I'm standing with all my friends, with all these people who are like my family of color. And I wanted that to be, there would be no question. So coming up with those words and saying that on Sunday was really hard. Imani, I know, because I saw too, I think you might have been one of the people who had posted. I'm looking at your page to see if you had posted this. It's hard for me to even keep track where all the different posts come from. Oh, yes. Okay, so you had posted When They See Us, which so I have a couple of things on Netflix I'm going to watch. So, and the other thing that I really liked, Imani, about the post that you wrote, which was a personal post, about understanding about your own anger and frustration, and how, how even Jesus flipped tables. And I just like totally, that post alone was pretty powerful for me. I loved reading that. And, as far as all that stuff goes, it does take a lot out of you. And it's a delicate, it's an intense subject. Fighting against evil, it's tiring. God will uphold us. Yes, I agree, Imani. And I think like what makes it hard is that I think there's just a lot of people who say things from the way they've been raised that don't even realize the harm it causes. So like, because there's enough people that I know that are just like, they're awesome people, but they say things that they don't realize that there's like an underlying tone in that. And there's just, they don't understand that the place from where they're coming from and the words they're offering can do damage to to what's currently going on. So trying to like address that with some people is hard, because then they're hurt because they're like, well, why would you ever think I was like that? And you're trying to say to them, like, I don't think you're like that. I'm just saying, like, you shouldn't say something like this because this is what it means to other people, right? This is what it looks like to other people, even though you're not like that. I want you to know because I care about you. And that's like, that's getting to be exhausting. And so Charlie, I love that deal, by the way, which is totally, it popped in, but I like that deal. Message me and we'll get in on that deal. Melissa, being home without a job during quarantines left much time to live on social media and is exhausting, hurts your soul. Yes, girl. I mean, we're all living on there constantly because we're looking for answers. We're looking for hope. We're looking for, people who are trying to come together. But in the search for those things, and I can't speak for everyone, that's me searching for like good stories and things that people are posting, like personal testimonies of like their life or experiences they've had. So I've been doing premarital counseling with a couple, and he is Colombian, and he was sharing with me like experiences and things that he's gone through, like through our Zoom meeting. And it's just, I have found anytime I ask a person of color, like, what's your story? Like, what is like a story for you that was like maybe like a moment in time where you experienced discrimination or racism or whatever. I've yet to ask that question to someone who is a person of color and have them tell me they don't have that. Therein, folks, lies the issue, right? Like that's a problem. So if every person every person of color has a discrimination story, that means there's still an issue. Cops or no cops, that's not even talking about cops. I'm just talking about regular people walking around. And, that's pretty exhausting. Right, Tony. Yeah, and Tony and I were talking about this morning. We were saying, like you want to know the current events, but you don't want to get sucked in so much that it like sucks out your soul, because that's what it's starting to feel like. But at the same time, it's like, that whole FOMO, fear of missing out. Like, I get that. Dylan, yeah, you do. There are definitely, I don't want to generalize by saying they're not good people putting up what I think there are people, and there probably are not good people, right? There definitely are not good people putting up crazy posts. I've seen those. But there's also people who just don't understand. Like, they just didn't ever live in a world that even included people of color. Like, you can ask Gabriel, the town I grew up in, Easton, Connecticut, y'all Google it. There is very few families of color where I grew up. But 10 minutes away from there is where Gabriel grew up, in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Google that. So Google Easton, Google Bridgeport, that's where we come from. But I wasn't raised like completely sheltered. And you have to know that there are definitely people who are raised completely sheltered. So they just don't even realize that the things they're saying are hurtful, or even that the things they're saying are biased, that they just are so clueless. Like, they just need some education. And I don't know why in our education systems that's not like more emphasized, like not just learning about Martin Luther King, but like, why aren't we learning about cultural appreciation of each other? Because like I've had, for our mediators in Binghamton, I wound up bringing in a couple of facilitators to teach. It was, I forget the title of it. It was this way of knowing, it was a cultural appreciation, also with, I have to ask Moira. Wouldn't it be cool if Moira was in here, but she's not. But it was, thanks Morgan. But it was, like a really good workshop. So why in our schools aren't we doing classes on cultural appreciation and getting to like realize like, hey, this country is so self-centered that it's all about like, and I preach about this on Sunday, so trust me, this isn't me just like coming to a revelation now. I preach on this a lot of Sundays. You can ask anyone in my church. I talk about how we have this culture where a common phrase that we say is, you do you, boo. That's so like, I'm just gonna look out for myself. And people always say like, I'm a lookout for number one. Why is number one you? Like, number one should be the people around you. Like, that's like what's behind the gospel. Like, that's what's biblical, is to like it. There's actually like scripture that says love your neighbor as yourself. So if you are loving yourself, which you should be putting equal value to those around you. So like my whole thing is, we've kind of like really bought into this whole like egotistical self thing, and we don't have appreciation or knowledge or even like relationships that, you know, even like just daily relationships have, well, I feel like social media has kind of negated some of that. Okay, Imani, politeness doesn't translate well. Right. All of them do. Sorry, I'm a little late on reading these, so I'm trying to think of what it's in response to. Okay, Gabe, I'm reading yours. Right, because Gabe knows I'm from a small rural town. Like I said, Google Easton, Connecticut. But like my mom had me go into all sorts of places, and we were with all sorts of people. Like my best friend when I was a little girl was Cape Verdean, and like, you know, when you're little, you don't see, like, you just don't see that. It's like you're a little kid, you're just seeing other little kids, right? So imagine if you're a little kid, but you never see another little kid that's different than you. So that like shapes you somehow, and that forms you somehow. And that makes, you know, it makes your world pretty singular. But if you, as a little kid, you're seeing other little kids who look different than you, like you never even quite question it. Like, you know, I remember there also too was like, must have been 5th grade. There was a young boy that only had like 2 fingers on one of his hands or something like that. And I remember my mom asking me about that, and I was just like, what do you mean? Like, I just really never really like thought much about it. Like, it was just like, oh, that's just how he, you know, that's just how, because when you're little, you're not, I don't know, you're just not thinking about that stuff. So if you're exposed to lots of different people and things when you're little, it's not like a shock at some point, you know? If you're sheltered and you're growing up, you're only ever seeing little kids that look just like you, at some point it like comes at a shock. And then you're having to like deal with that, and like you're now already like formed and shaped for so much. So there's a privilege that comes in where some folks can turn it off and ignore what's going to get a break, and can turn off the news all I want, but you're still a black woman. I don't get a break. You know what, Imani? Number one, what I want to say is that I have been thinking about that all week. Out of this exhaustion, my friend Marissa, she posted like, oh, you're tired of, you're tired from fighting for a week, try 400 years. You know, it was that meme. Have you seen that meme, Imani? And and I had already been thinking about it prior to seeing that, but that like really put some words to it. I'm looking for exactly what it said. If you don't like a few days of rioting, you'd really hate 400 years of systemic oppression and discrimination. And, you know, I already have made my case clear off of Amani, what you were saying about like you're not telling people not to do it because you understand there's this anger behind it. And I'm kind of the same way. It's like, do I like it? No, but I understand like people are angry, and like, who am I? Like I'm like, I have zero clue. Who am I to say any of that? Whether, you know, if I hadn't been listened to for however many years, how I would feel or how I would act. So all that to be said is this week, couple weeks, because like shortly after Ahmaud, I was already like really in tune, because I was like pretty just distraught over that. I started to think about how the fact is that, Imani, you're right, like I can like choose to turn it off, and I really hope I don't choose to do that. But at the end of the day, like I'm still white. And at the end of the day, like you're a black woman and you're dealing with it every single day. And so to me, it's just like, you know, I've only had this short taste. And there's been other points in time where I've experienced this, where you kind of like, where everything kind of erupts. And but now is the time of really like, Facebook is the way it is. And I've probably lost track of some comments. Amanda, there's a lot of things they don't teach you in school that they should. I agree. Gabriel, yes. Love God and love others. Yep. And you know, like, right. And Casey, if you're in here, I see that you're in here, but I don't know if you're actually in here. I've thought a lot about, for those of you who, probably all of you know, I think, but I did mediation in Binghamton, and I just keep thinking about mediation. Like for Casey, I shared the other day actually on my Facebook, William Urie's listening TED Talk, because it's just so valuable. And I just keep thinking, you know, wouldn't it be really cool to have like peace talk roundtables where you invite community leaders to a table with whoever is in authority, like the police chief. You know, why not have a roundtable discussion that brings about discussion and that brings about conversation for change and like an understanding, and you know, like having some sort of like peace talk, I don't know. And I keep thinking about William Urie, who did peace talks in the Middle East, and I just keep thinking about like mediation centers and the roles that they could potentially play in helping to like facilitate conversations and discussion amongst community and you know, authority figures in the community. And so I've thought a lot about that, because I think that would actually be helpful, you know, where we actually sit down and talk and you know, include some teenagers. Give them a voice, because you know what? Like teenagers are just as important to me as adults. Like we talk about that in church all the time, that the kids are just as valuable as adults. They're human beings. You know, invite some teenagers, some preteens to the conversation. Let them feel like they're valued, like their voice counts, like they matter. Because if we don't, you know, include the young people, they feel discounted and they feel like devalued, and that's not right either. So I've thought a lot about what that might look like. And having something like that would be super cool. Tony, I'm glad. You know, it's hard. It's exhausting. Like everyone has said, everyone's tired. I certainly don't want to argue with people. And it's hard to like just go around correcting people too, because people don't usually take that really well. So I try to put it in such a way I always try to be gracious in my nature. But once it gets thrown back in my face after being gracious, then I'm going to be assertive, because there's just no need for it. If someone is trying to like direct you and saying this is a harmful or hurtful way to speak about something or to speak about a group of people, and you disregard or dismiss or get defensive, then I'm going to get assertive. And not in a mean way and not in a, argumentative way. I'm just going to be assertive, and that's going to be it. And then I'm going to be out, because like I said, I'm not looking to argue with people. I'm looking to say, like, listen, this is what's happening. It's time to pay attention. Like, it's not just time to just spout off all the time. We need to listen to people. Let me tell you. Yes, Imani, they do. They are. They're not just future leaders. They are leaders now, because they're leading their friends in beliefs. They're leading their friends in, they're already leaders, because they're whatever way they're leading. There are people who are natural born leaders, and they lead whatever age they're at. Like, I think my whole life I was always a leader. Like, I was not just a there were times I followed. Most of the times, though, I was a leader. Tamika Mallory, I have watched that speech. I couldn't even tell you how many times at this point. Because Tamika Mallory has something to say. I don't care if you agree with her or not. I don't care. If you agree with her or not, you need to listen to her. Because, and I have sent that link to like a bunch of people that I've had conversations with. But I'm saying, like, she has some line in there that says, something like, I don't care if they burn down Target. Now, immediately that's triggered a bunch of people. Well, what do you mean? What do you mean you don't care if they burn down Target? But that is not the point. That's not where she's coming from. She's saying that people in Target, employees of Target, should be advocating, should be standing with, should be a part of this. It has zero to do with Target. It's not about Target. It's about everything else that comes before human life. That's what Tamika Mallory is saying. And so, and I'm sure she knows. I'm sure she knows she triggered some people. But I am saying, watch that speech, watch that woman speak, because she's got something to say. And if you can't sit there and listen to a 2-minute and 30-second speech from someone who has something to say, there's an issue. And the issue is inside. Oh, Melissa. That's awesome. Moira! Oh my gosh, Moira, I was just talking about you. Are you actually in here? Moira, I hope you're in here. I mean, everyone who's in here can just say, like, I was just talking about Moira, because Moira, I was saying, like, time and time again during all this, I keep saying, where are the mediators? Where are our mediation centers? Why aren't we having, like, peace talks with community leaders and authority figures for the community, like police chiefs and whatever community police officers there are? Like, I keep saying, you know, what a great idea. I hope you're really in here. Because I see you popped in here, but y'all know. Sometimes you click on it and you're like, whoops, I don't have time for that. Yes. Imani, Jesus always listened first. And, hold on. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry, right? I wanted to get that fully right. So we know that in James, that's what's going on. Like, quick to listen. Well, why are we so quick to react? Because we, you know, we have these, like, the blood boils and then it just, you know. We should be quick to listen. And I'm telling you, Gabriel, I don't know if you're in here or if anyone else in here wants to link Tamika Mallory's speech. I have listened to it so many times. You know what? Hold up. She's right in my search bar there because I'm saying, I like the original clip. You know, now they've added like music to it and all this stuff. I just like it plain. And we're going to listen to it. Why not? I think there's one like cuss word. It's not even a cuss word, but you know what? We're going to listen to it. It's 2 minutes, 47 seconds. And I'm saying, listen to her. Listen to her tone. Listen to her speech, to her passion, the way she doesn't barely miss a beat. She doesn't have it written down, and she's talking from her heart.
This is a coordinated activity happening across this nation. And so we are in a state of emergency. Black people are dying in a state of emergency. We cannot look at this as an isolated incident. The reason why buildings are burning are not just for our brother George Floyd. They're burning down because people here in Minnesota are saying to people in New York, to people in California, to people in Memphis, to people all across this nation, enough is enough. And we are not responsible for the mental illness that has been inflicted upon our people by the American government, institutions, and those people who are in positions of power. I don't give a damn if they burn down Target, because Target should be on the streets with us calling for the justice that our people deserve. Where was AutoZone at the time when Philando Castile was shot in a car, which is what they actually represent? Where were they? So if you are not coming to the people's defense, then don't challenge us when young people and other people who are frustrated and instigated by the people you pay. You are paying instigators to be among our people out there throwing rocks, breaking windows, and burning down buildings. And so young people are responding to that. They are enraged. And there's an easy way to stop it. Arrest the cops. Charge the cops. Charge all the cops. Not just some of them. Not just here in Minneapolis. Charge them in every city across America where our people are being murdered. Charge them everywhere. That's the bottom line. Charge the cops. Do your job. Do what you say this country is supposed to be about, the land of the free for all. It has not been free for black people, and we are tired. Don't talk to us about looting. Y'all are the looters. America has looted black people. America looted the Native Americans when they first came here. So looting is what you do. We learned it from you. We learned violence from you. We learned violence from you. The violence was what we learned from you. So if you want us to do better, then damn it, you do better.
That's probably at least the 20th time I've watched Tamika Mallory on that speech. And you know why I keep listening to it? Because she has something to say. And all that to be said is, if we can't listen to someone who, even if it's stuff we don't agree with, that how are we ever going to move forward? How are we ever going to come to terms of anything, of relationships, of society? You know, when we have a mediation, right? We usually have a mediation because there is a conflict. And there is a conflict because there are two parties who are no longer communicating in terms where they can understand each other. It has become, butting heads. They are no longer hearing each other because they are so desperately trying to get their side and their point across, they can't hear anymore. What mediators do? Mediators listen. So we reframe. We mirror. We encourage. We summarize, right? What winds up happening is when I do that, for one of those parties, it's a different voice, right? When I could be saying the same words as one party, and all of a sudden, the other party is like, I didn't really ever think about it like that. Well, you didn't think about it like that? They've been saying that this whole time. Here's the thing. They're deaf to each other, right? So all that to be saying is sometimes you need a fresh voice. You need fresh ears to hear it, and you need someone who is willing to reflect that. That's why I keep coming back to, like, where are our mediators? We need to get some mediation out here, and we need to start hosting some roundtable peace talks. And I will say, mediation produces an agreement, right? Mediation produces some sort of, at times, a reconciliation of relationship, but it produces an agreement of where do we go from here and how do we function either as two very separate individuals who are interested in the same topic or the same thing, but we function around it, or how do we do it together and move forward and have this agreement together. Tony, exactly. You know that when Tamika Mallory gave that speech, you know she had a fire burning in her, and she needs to be heard. Whether you back all that or you don't back all that, there's this passion, there's this fire that she has something to say. Now, if people aren't willing to listen to her just because they disagree with her, that brings us back full circle. Round and round and round we go, just like a Ferris wheel. Because we're never going to get to the point where if I didn't agree with, here she goes, I don't care if they burn down Target. That would be the time. If y'all are triggered by that, that's a time you don't say, I don't want Target burned down. That's just not how you have conflict resolution. You say, well, tell me more about that. Tell me more about Target getting burned down. What's that mean? What's it mean that Target's getting burned down? Like, and why, and then you would have, if she didn't follow it up with, she said, I don't care if they burn down Target. Then she said, Target should be out declaring the justice that should be served, right? If she hadn't said that, your next question to her would be like, what would you expect from Target? So it's asking questions instead of just ramming your thoughts and your concerns and your immediate emotional reaction to something you don't like. It's ask them a question, ask them to clarify, ask them to tell you more. So when we see people, man, that is a good speech, y'all. Tamika Mallory, she put it how it is. She didn't even miss a beat. And that's what I'm telling you, that's got to be my 20th time watching Tamika Mallory give that speech. Because I know she has something to say, and I, with all my heart, want to hear it. I just want to hear it over and over. I want to listen to her. I want to listen to my friends, to all my friends of color. I want them to tell me they're hurt. I want them to tell me the times they were discriminated against. I want to hear that because they have something to say to people who have not listened. And this is how we've gotten to where we are. That there's been enough. I also wanted to say too, Tamika mentions in this speech, the people of Minneapolis are telling the people of California, of New York, of Nashville, y'all, I told you I watched it a lot, that enough is enough, right? We say words, that actions speak louder than words. Words weren't enough anymore. Now there's action being taken, and the action is telling people. So what's going to be our responsive action? Well, you know what? I always say, people think listening is a passive thing. Listening is so active. They have something called active listening. Active listening. It is an action. So that should be our reaction. We should be listening because there's something to be said here. And not enough of us have listened. So anyhow, here I am. Feel free to pop in. That's just what I feel. Every time I listen to Tamika's speech, I get passionate. I get impassioned because, like, I want to meet this woman. I want to talk to Tamika. I want to listen to her. I want her to tell me all these things because she's got something to say and she wants people to listen and I want to listen. So, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I want to be that action of listening that I really, really think we need to see. We see a lot of people talking, a lot of people reacting, not a whole lot of responses. And response consists of thinking. Response consists of not just thinking about yourself, but it requires you to put yourself in the other person's position. So all that to be said is I want to listen. And like this morning I was telling you, I'm talking to Tony. Tony and I talked for an hour and I listened to Tony. Like Tony and I, we shared some stuff, but it's time to listen. And I can't, like I said, I shared the William Ury TED Talk. I'm telling you, if you haven't watched that, you need to watch it. You need to. I'm not even saying you should, you need to. Because William Ury is a world-renowned negotiator, world-renowned mediator. He has literally done peace talks in the Middle East. He worked with Hugo Chavez, right? I mean, he is world-renowned, and his approach, his talk about listening is spot on. And I posted it on my Facebook and I had maybe 4 likes, because you know why? Nobody wants to listen. No, I mean, that's not fun. People are like, I don't want to listen, I just want to like talk and react and have my opinion. But like, we'd be a lot better off if we listened. We really would be. Hey, Moira. Co-wrote the CR Bible. Wait, I don't know what that's in regards to. But Moira, have you been in here this whole time? I don't even know. So Moira, I was telling you that or I was telling everyone that I think we need some mediators, right? We need some mediators for the community. We need some restorative circles. The whole point of restorative justice is for things like this, for restoring communities. And, now's the time. Now is the time. All that to be said, too, is as my friends, as my friends share, right? So I'll say this. All my friends of color that share videos and that share opinions and, you know, and have been talking, I've been really trying to engage it. Whether I respond on a post or not, I've been reading them. And I read them more than once because that's how I'm trying to listen. And if I don't get it, I ask a question. And there's been a couple of friends that I've asked questions to because, again, like, I am not the authority on this. Like, I am I've said over and over, I'm a heterosexual married white woman. And I know that I come from a place of privilege, and not only just a place of privilege from my skin and my sexuality, but a place of privilege from where I grew up. Like I said, y'all, Google Easton, Connecticut. I grew up in a place of privilege. I know I am not the authority on this, which is why I'm engaging all of my friends, like all my friends of color who are posting anything. I'm reading it. I'm reading what they're saying because I'm just trying to, like, make sure my lens isn't foggy. My lens isn't, messed up. I'm wanting to make sure that I have some clarity and some clear vision on this so that I can have some sort of understanding. I realize, because I preach this, that I can never understand, ever, another human being. I can understand me because I understand my experiences. And even if someone has had the similar experiences as I have, I can never understand where they're coming from because I haven't had that exact experience. So there's different levels of understanding. And so there is some form that I'm trying to understand this. And we communicate because we are trying to understand. We want to be understood. That's why Tamika Mallory was saying, we're letting people know in California, New York, and Nashville, enough is enough. Like, they want to be understood. Words weren't getting through and people weren't understanding, so they took action. They communicate because they want to be understood. Deep thinking does not require sanity. Clear thinking, however, does. Yes. And that's what I'm after. And I mean, Gabe, I know that's what you're after too. And I know, and I will say, I'm grateful that I have so many friends and people I consider family who are of color, because they'll tell me if I'm wrong. Like, they're not going to mince words. They're just going to say, nope, that's not really how it is. Like, and they know that I will correct myself. Like, okay, if that's, what do I need? Where am I at? Because I don't have a pride on that level, because I'm not a person of color. So how can I be prideful of how I would communicate those things? I can't be. I need to be humble. I need to accept if I said the wrong thing. I truly obviously didn't mean it. I think all my friends know I wouldn't mean it if I say the wrong thing, but they know they can correct me and say, Liz, it's just not how it is. And anyhow, I'm just, and like I said, Imani from the beginning, like I said, I'm tired, but you're right. At the end of the day, I have the option to turn it off because I'm white. I'm tired, but I can turn it off. Like, and from what you were saying, but you're a black woman, you live it every day. I'm telling you, like, that's hard for me. Because I wish that wasn't that way. And the fact that when I think about that I have never asked a friend of color if they've been discriminated against or, like, had something happen to them where they felt like they were, it was because of the color of their skin. None of them said they didn't have a story like that. Every friend of color that I have has a story like that. That's not just the police. That's, like, all people, like, roaming around in the streets. It's just randoms, so we need to know this isn't just a police thing. it's a people thing. So Tony, that's what I'm saying, you know, like Tony, obviously, so Tony is, you're black, white, and Hispanic. I can't remember. So Tony and I, like, we have a really good relationship that's really, really honest. And Tony would 100% tell me if I was saying the wrong thing or whatever, and I would totally not be offended. Because Tony and I have a real relationship. Like, he's just going to tell me how it is. And he knows he wouldn't hurt my feelings. So I'm just going to learn from it. And that's part of this issue, is that people are just so prideful. Like, what do you have to be prideful about? Like, you are not the authority on this topic if you're a white person. Surprise. Like, black, white, and Hispanic. Right. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like Tony can speak to a lot of this. And, like, it's a hard place to be at. And we've had some conversations about it, and it's rough. I don't know what just happened here. Error loading. Did I get stopped? Did I go offline? Online? Offline? I don't know what happened. Let's see. For some reason it stopped working on my Facebook with comments and stuff. So I reloaded it. I don't know if it's still here. Here it is. All right. Sorry, y'all. Okay, it's back. So anyhow, all that to be said, I don't even know what else I'm saying. I really don't. I didn't even think I'd be on here this long today. Really. It's been a lot. And I know it's been a lot for my friends of color. And even, like, you know, even within my friends of color, there's even all differing opinions and things about the rioting. And so that's hard too, because, like, you know, like, I'm trying to listen to all of those things, and it's not like everyone's going to agree on that either. So it's hard because I'm trying to, like, have that voice that supports this community in saying, you know, hey, I'm not here to judge how the response of violence has come out, because let me tell you this too, as a mediator, you realize in a room really fast when it's you, another mediator, and two parties, you realize how violent it could be, because you can see the yelling and the anger, and there have been times where people get up like they're gonna hit somebody. I've never actually seen anyone hit someone, but I'm saying, like, you know how it would go if I wasn't there. I'm just saying. So that's on a very small scale when people don't listen to each other. On the larger scale, riots. That's just what happens. That's what happens when people aren't heard. That's why I'm saying we need to get some mediators going. Need to get people involved. And so anyhow, there's my 2 cents. I don't even have any cents. I'm just trying to be best I can be. Best I can be for all my friends that I love, and that I hurt for because they're hurting, and I don't like that. This is quite a time. 2020 is quite a time. quite a time. Didn't ever really think it would feel like we were going back to 1920 though. It's kind of a thing. So yeah, I don't know if I have anything else to say. I really could listen to Tamika Mallory one more time. Why don't we? Because like I said, she got something to say. And I don't know about you, but like when I hear her speak, I want to do something. I want to and the doing something is listening. But I want change more when I hear her. Like, I don't know if that's weird, but I do.
This is a coordinated activity happening across this nation. And so we are in a state of emergency. Black people are dying in a state of emergency. We cannot look at this as an isolated incident. The reason why buildings are burning are not just for our brother George Floyd. They're burning down because people here in Minnesota are saying to people in New York, to people in California, to people in Memphis, to people all across this nation, enough is enough. And we are not responsible for the mental illness that has been inflicted upon our people by the American government, institutions, and those people who are in positions of power. I don't give a damn if they burn down Target, because Target should be on the streets with us calling for the justice that our people deserve. Where was AutoZone at the time when Philando Castile was shot in a car, which is what they actually represent? Where were they? So if you are not coming to the people's defense, then don't challenge us when young people and other people who are frustrated and instigated by the people you pay. You are paying instigators to be among our people out there throwing rocks, breaking windows, and burning down buildings. And so young people are responding to that. They are enraged, and there's an easy way to stop it. Arrest the cops. Charge the cops. Charge all the cops. Not just some of them, not just here in Minneapolis. Charge them in every city across America where our people are being murdered. Charge them everywhere. That's the bottom line. Charge the cops. Do your job. Do what you say this country is supposed to be about, the land of the free for all. It has not been free for black people, and we are tired. Don't talk to us about looting. Y'all are the looters. America has looted black people. America looted the Native Americans when they first came here. So looting is what you do. We learned it from you. We learned violence from you. We learned violence from you. The violence was what we learned from you. So if you want us to do better, then damn it, you do better.
I think I gotta post that. Pretty sure I have to post that. Because I'm saying, yeah. Yeah. So anyhow, I think this is it for my lunchtime of hanging out with you all. And yeah. Tamika Mallory. Man. She's got something to say. I'm looking her up on Facebook. Look, she's the first thing that pops up. Followed by 56,000 people. Well, now you can count me as one of them. I really just need to know this woman, because I just feel like she's got just something to say, and I want to listen to it. So anyhow, thank you guys for hanging out and sharing your perspectives and talking a bit about where you're coming from. I appreciate you all being on here, and I haven't been doing daily lunch because I'm kind of just exhausted by it. I'm just tired, and it's hard to like get all worked up. I feel like, and not all of them do I get worked up, but like in this current climate, I think I'm pretty worked up by it. But also, it does feel kind of good to talk about it and to get that out there. And Melissa, thanks for being a part of the conversation. I appreciate it. And yeah, I think today was good. I liked the conversation we had. And that's kind of what I'm saying is like, yeah, we need to listen to people. And we need to listen to things we don't like too. And I have. And that's hard to do too. Yep. So anyhow, I love you all. I'm going to sign off. Thanks for being here. Thanks for engaging. And I hope you all have a great day. Thanks.